iSARMs.com, the #1 place to learn about SARMs online.
The topic for today is going to be that of Pramipexole. I've done videos on Cabergoline and Dostinex for controlling prolactin with any nandrolone steroid. Now, Prami is the counterpart and the other alternative to Dostinex. So I just want to get into that and explain how it works and how to use it and explain the side effects, etc. Just basic facts like I like to give everybody. So it's actually a dopamine agonist. Okay, so it's in the same class of drugs as Cabergoline, Dostinex. Now, the primary purpose of Prami was actually for the treatment of Parkinson's disease, and obviously that's not the use that we're talking about here, but I'm just saying that was the main reason for its development. Now, functions and traits of it, as I said, it's a dopamine agonist. Okay, so that directly correlates with the actual prolactin hormone. So as your dopamine levels go up, your prolactin levels are going to go down. Basically, it does this by having a direct effect on the dopamine D3 receptor. Okay, now although it's also acts on the D2 receptor, its affinity for the D3 receptor is 7 times greater than any dopamine agonist out there. Now, the effect of Prami on the D3 receptor is going to have a really big impact on your neurological system. And that's why it's actually used to treat Parkinson's disease and in some cases Alzheimer's disease. Now, through acting on the D3 receptor itself, Prami also affects a man's sexual interest and activity. So prolactin is in part directly responsible for a man's refractory period, which is going to refer to the time it takes to recover from sexual activity, okay, so that the performance can occur again. So when you're lowering prolactin through an increase in dopamine, Prami is going to directly reduce the refractory period, resulting in the ability to perform sexually more frequently. Now, the positive effects that you're going to get from Prami medically revolve primarily on relieving symptoms of Parkinson's, and it's going to improve the mood of any patient on it. Now, it's also used by performance-enhancing athletes, as we know, to combat a specific kind of gynecomastia and improve sexual function that is sometimes diminished through the use of specific anabolic steroids, most notably nandrolones. So when your prolactin levels increase significantly, along with elevated levels of estrogen, it can actually induce gynecomastia, which we know is male breast enlargement. Now, even if estrogen is controlled, if you're a gynosensitive man and you have heavily elevated prolactin levels, that can induce gynecomastia as well. Elevated levels of prolactin due to steroid use are generally commonly associated with nandrolones, so like DECA, Tren, NPP. Not all men will have an issue with increases in prolactin due to the use of these steroids, but it's somewhat dose dependent and it's highly dependent on genetic predispositions. So if control is needed, Prami is a suitable option for control. Now, elevated levels of prolactin, they're going to have a negative effect on anybody's sexual performance, okay? And it most commonly, the problem here is going to be the ability to either get or maintain an erection. Nandrolone is the most well-known steroid for causing this issue, and the hormone responsible for the phrase that you hear often referred to as DECA-dick. For those that suffer from this issue, they'll often forego nandrolones due to potential erection issues. And that's understandable. Nobody wants to have that issue. It's a terrible thing, and it is a common occurrence with nandrolones. Now, the good thing is that in many cases, Prami comes in and it really helps to control and offset any such issues. With the right combination of steroidal hormones along with Prami, peak sexual performance can often be reached. So the final positive effect that Prami tends to show is that it actually increases your natural growth hormone production. The increase is not what we can call extremely significant, but it's enough to really show benefit with an approximate 2-hour increase in GH serum levels after it's actually taken. There's several possible side effects with Prami use, and perhaps more so than most dopamine agonists. The side effects are largely genetic dependent, and while they don't negatively affect most users in a significant way, they can be quite bothersome for many. Here's some of the possible side effects we're looking at. Nausea, and that's the most common side effect that you're going to run into with Prami use. Vomiting, loss of appetite, headaches, edema, and that's going to be primarily in legs, ankles, and feet. Insomnia, dizziness is another one. Fainting is even possible. It's not really common. Hallucinations, but those are rare. Muscle twitches, and just a general overall kind of weaker feeling. The most common cause of the above effects is when people take too much. It's so powerful, and a little bit goes a very long way, and it's very easy to suffer from side effects when too much is taken. It should always be kept to the minimum. You should never go crazy on the dosing with Prami. It's found in tablet form. It's also found in research chemical liquid form. The half-life we're looking at is approximately 8 to 12 hours. Obviously, it's going to be used different in control of prolactin than it would be with Parkinson's treatment. Now, generally, 0.25 to 0.5 milligrams twice a week is going to actually end up being plenty for most to combat issues, but it's recommending to start lower so that your body adjusts. And I would highly recommend dosing at night as opposed to during the day. If you're going to get side effects and etc., it's much better to do it at night and try to sleep through it and go that route. So that being said, that's Pramipexole for you. I hope I've given you quite a good understanding on it, how it works, what to expect. So, it's definitely another option for you. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.